Right, good evening everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. In today's parliamentary big top circus, Keir the traitor Starmer thinks Nigel Farage should be apologising for alleged racism that happened in school 50 years ago. Who said I didn't know the elephant was hosting the big top? Shut up you! I'm not that bad, for fuck's sake! But obviously Keir the traitor Starmer is, because he's this pathetic, this petty, that he's willing to go back 50 years to try and drag stuff out to basically drag Nigel Farage through. This isn't even just petty at this point, it's just downright pathetic. I've seen more strength in a bowl of gnat's piss compared to Keir the traitor Starmer. But what can you expect from a man who is about as popular as a nonce in a nursery? I might even dare to say even less so. After all, is there one group of people that Keir the traitor Starmer hasn't backstabbed, other than, of course, Davos, the WEF, and the WHO? He stabbed our military in the back, he stabbed our SAS in the back, he stabbed our elderly in the back, stroke number one, I'm off to a good start. Stabbed us people in the back. Patriots, that is, for context. Maybe you could argue that he hasn't stabbed his Labour ministers in the back, though I think some of them would disagree with me on that one. It reminds me of a little quote from somebody I've been watching on YouTube lately, who's named Voy, that is V-O, I think I-Y, gaming channel. At one point he used this little catchphrase in his video: if Reform voters gained any IQ for something or another, they'd still have zero IQ. Well, I would say if Labour gained IQ from every time they stabbed somebody in the back, they still have negative IQ, quite frankly. Meanwhile, Lammy's eating the equation of pie. Anyway, the fact is, Labour are not fit for purpose at all. At this point, the only people who are ever going to vote Labour again are those who are vegetables, basically, completely dead in the head. And I'm not using that as an exaggeration. These people would have to be clinically brain dead if they even think for 1 second that anybody with any semblance of common sense is going to vote the Labour Party ever again. You could offer me the fucking keys to 10 Downing Street and I'd still say no to voting Labour, even if my presence in the Labour Party would actually give it a substantial reputational boost, even if it is just for me. And I'm not saying that as a matter of ego, I'm saying it matter-of-factly. I mean, honestly, you couldn't ask for a bigger bunch of tossers, even if you went to a pub in Yorkshire. And don't even get me started on the sheep shaggers in Wales. Anyway, you would never make any of the Labour Party popular at all. They have done too much damage to their reputation. They have done too much damage to this country. Rachel, for the counts, is effectively giving us a budget where everyone is being spoon-fed misery and poverty on a plate. Meanwhile, invaders from third world shitholes are being housed in hotels, being told where their nearest park is so they can find a child to violate, and they're being given 4 square meals a day. And don't forget the fact as well, don't forget the fact as well that these migrants, invaders, they're also being given a phone and free money as well. All with no vetting process. And we have Shabana Mahmood ready to naturalise the invaders, so we can't say, well, they've invaded our country anymore. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. But after 4 minutes of ranting about the Labour Party, or again, maybe I was right first time, I need a break. I'll take 500 quid on the sidewalk. Anyway, I think I need to rant on now about this new tap-on, tap-off shit from First Buses. Now, I don't know what kind of industrial-grade drugs they were doing, but clearly they were very, very fucking strong, these drugs, because now there's this system in place where now apparently I have to tap on from the contactless, that's fair enough, but then I have to tap off again. Apparently they're trying to make it like the system in London. But here's the thing, as the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, why do we need to be like London? How about we just be a unique fucking town called Norwich? I've caught that disease again, haven't I? Called common sense. The thing that's not very common these days. But this is the thing. This morning, when I was hopping on the bus and using... Oh, hey, I'm doing okay, you?
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, jolly good. So this morning, when I stepped on the bus, do the card business, sit my ass down, nearly break the bus down, yes, I know. Anyway, I do my shit, and then I watch some of the people that come on do the same thing, and I think at least half of these people didn't even tap off on the bloody machine. Now, I don't know how this system works, so this is all alleged at this point, but for all I know, one of two things could be happening. It could either be they're being charged a full ticket, £3, full whatever it is, or it might just be they're not even paying at all. Because apparently the way it's supposed to work is you tap on to say, I'm getting on the bus, like you would if you were going on the train in the London Underground. You tap your fucking Oyster card or your contactless or whatever, and then once you've finished your journey, you tap the other end. Now, it works in London because they've refined the system. But right now, this is a system that is only just new, and I am not convinced it's going to fucking work. Especially considering the number of people I saw getting off the bus without tapping a second time. So if they're being able to do this, they could basically get away, allegedly of course. They're either paying the full amount for which is £3, or what I think is they're not paying anything at all. Which means if that's the case, this shit could be easily exploitable. I mean, okay, you have got their credit card details and what have you, so you could easily track them down. But it doesn't change the fact that some people are going to try and skirt the system. I mean, what was wrong with the old system of tap the card as soon as you declare where you want to fucking go, and you pay the moment it reads the card? What's wrong with that system? Again, it's that common sense disease, isn't it? But enough ranting and raving about first buses, who are more incompetent than a plastered up guy trying to drive a fucking horse and cart. I just don't understand for the life of me why these treasonous cunts in the Labour Party haven't been sent to the gallows already. Oh, that's right, now I remember. Now it's all coming back into my brain. Yes, I don't have a brain, what am I on about? Shut it. But no, Tony Blair basically rescinded the traitor law because he knew full well what he was doing back when he falsely declared that there were WMDs in the middle of Iraq. So because of that, we were unable to charge this traitorous bastard with the murder of our British or English soldiers, whichever thingy you want to use. Surely, we should be able to see this as a justice system and be able to say, you know what? He clearly did this to skirt the law. Although I thought he was wearing trousers. I didn't know he looked good in blouse. Anyway, he's clearly using this to skirt the law, and yet our justice system does fuck all about it. Yet they're more than willing to send people like Wayne O'Rourke or Lucy Connolly, for fuck's sake, Lucy Connolly to prison for 32 months. For daring to send a tweet which he deleted within hours. Peter Lynch, God rest his soul, was merely shouting at the police, exercising Article 10 of the Human Rights Act. He was sent to prison for the best part of 3 fucking years. He ended up ending himself in prison. Yet, we're giving community service to PDF files and the people that want to prey on our kids. We're allowing war criminals like Tony Blair to get away with murdering our armed forces. Someone please fucking explain that to me. And then we have David, the Archbishop of Racism Lammy, trying to do away with jury trials. You know why? Because he wants special magistrates in the courtroom. He wants to make it so that the judge is our jury and executioner, though more emphasis on the executioner. They want to make sure people like me, people like you, people like Paul Thorpe, Tommy Robinson, Maya Toosey, Carl Benjamin, just to name a few, we end up in the clink for daring to express an opinion that opposes the government. The wankers stroke number 2, who have repeatedly ignored our cries to stop the invaders coming. They're more than willing to lock us up, but they're not willing to protect our kids, not willing to protect our families, not willing to look at Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, or the fact that Tommy Robinson had Article 3 of the Human Rights Act violated on himself. That is torture, when he was sent to prison for a crime he never committed. I know people will say contempt of court, but as I've said before, that contempt of court charge, it was the Americans who released the film. So technically, it was already in the public domain, so Tommy Robinson could not be fucking charged for it. Which means if we want to get really technical, the Attorney General and Keir the traitor Starmer, surely, for Tommy Robinson's false imprisonment, they should be basically held in prison themselves, not just under treachery, but on top of that, also for false imprisonment. But do you think the mainstream media is going to tell you that? Oh, of course they won't. But I can tell you right now, free of charge, if I was one of those judges, Starmer would already be in prison, just like that. And that's just one person, of course. Let's not forget the other traitors and the sectarian bastards and the ex-Justice Secretary, that is Shabana Mahmood, who effectively breached her code of conduct by failing to basically uphold the Human Rights Act. And people wonder why. Apparently this thing that's going on, where people are going over to the French shores, is apparently being called Operation Overlord. I don't know why, but it is what it is, I suppose. They can make whatever name they want, but apparently that is the name they've given to the people who are basically going over there and are doing everything they can, legal or otherwise, to stop the invaders from coming over from France to the United Kingdom. And here's the thing. Obviously, I am much more in support of legal methods to do it. I am much more in support of people who are going out of their way to do it by the book, as it were, rather than the people who are basically taking the route of Cersei Lannister and choosing violence. I don't condone it. I won't justify it. I won't advocate for it. But I will say this, just like I've said, as far as revolution is concerned, I completely understand why they're doing it. And to our two-tier policing society, what did you expect to happen? Honestly, what did you expect to happen? You people and the Navy, or the Border Force, or FARS, or whatever you want to bloody call them, they should have been doing their job. They should have been protecting our borders. They should have been keeping the invaders, the illegals, out. They have not been very good at that. In fact, they've been about as effective as a wet sock. And I know some people may not like the language that I use, but here's the thing about me, and you lot can say it with me. I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I am not going to mince my words. I am going to say it exactly how it is, and I will do my best not to bullshit you. But right now, this invasion issue, because that's what it is at this point, as we are not vetting the people coming in illegally, is we are allowing dangerous men, because that's what they mostly are, fighting age men, not children, fighting age men, into our country. Some of these people who are not tolerant of our culture, our beliefs, our society, our laws, and basically want to bring the third world into our country and turn our country into the third world. That's the cold, bitter truth. Though a lot of people and the mainstream media, of course, don't want to let you know about that, and they don't want to admit it either. There is absolutely no excuse whatsoever for not knowing about immigration and customs. Tap on, tap off. I feel like Mr. Miyagi. Anyway, we don't need these people coming into our country, these invaders who are undocumented. If I wanted people in my room without consent, I would go to a fucking hostel. At least then I could get some drugs and get high as a bloody kite. But no, jokes aside, the fact of the matter is, Our two-tier policing society, our border farce, they should have been doing their job. And now they're wondering why they have got loads of English men who have got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to go over to the channel and start preventing these people from crossing over. Maybe if the French had actually done their job with the 500 million fucking pounds that we've been giving them for them to sit on their fat asses and do fuck all, maybe we wouldn't need to be over there. Maybe if our border force had done its job, maybe our own people wouldn't be going out of their way to try and send these invaders back, or take a more diplomatic approach, shall we say, and say to these people, we only want you if you're nice. I mean, honestly, what is so hard about stopping unvetted men from coming over to our country? What is so difficult about sending those who have arrived illegally back to the country of origin they've come from, or back to France, on the plane, on a boat, on a train, on a lorry, on a catapult? I don't give a fuck. Send them back. We don't want them. They're not our responsibility. If the French had done their job, these people wouldn't be making these crossings. And of course, we all know the only real time that the French will actually destroy the boats is if they've got a camera crew conveniently parked alongside them. That way they'll do it just for the views, to say, hey, look guys, we are actually stopping the boats. Yeah, when there's a fucking camera crew there. I may have been born at night, but I assure you I wasn't born last night, matey. And like I said in my last video, if they are actually doing their job, they'd actually send the fucking receipts, tell us exactly what they've been spending that money on. But let's face it, we all know the real reason why they won't do it. It's because they want to get rid of people like you and me. They are actively replacing the white population with people from the third world. It is the New World Order. That's why I call them the World Health, the World Health Order. They're basically looking to replace us. They don't want people to be able to integrate with one another and actually be able to respect other people's cultures, societies, and beliefs. Look what's happened to Birmingham. How that has become, effectively, a third world shithole because of those invaders from Sunni and Shia Islam from the Middle East. Look how they are creating no-go zones in Birmingham, in London, and that's just to start. Do you honestly think they're going to stop their conquest in those two cities? Like fuck, are they? They're going to spread all across the country. They're going to breed like rabbits, spread their toxic ideology to other counties, towns, and they're basically going to take over all of the UK if we don't stop them. Remember, a lot of these people are not from war-torn countries. They might be fleeing a dictatorship, but here's the thing. Surely these Islamic invaders in particular, the ones who are completely intolerant of us and have said categorically, we're not here to integrate, we're here to show that Allah is superior, you know, Alan's snack bar. They have said that straight from the horse's mouth. This isn't just me saying it. They're hate-filled clerics and their imams, and your mums. Anyway, their imams will repeatedly say, we're not here to integrate, we're here to dominate, we're here to conquer, we're here to subjugate. Only a fool would let these invaders in. And unfortunately, we have a house full of them. And I'm not talking about that one in 10 Downing Street. I'm talking about the one in Westminster. I think you know which one I mean. We're now getting to the stage where, as I've said before, is it any wonder why people are taking matters into their own fucking hands? Is it any wonder why we have people who are very much considering the, how should I put it, the not so legal route to basically do what the government should have been doing, do what the police should have been doing, do what the border force should have been doing what the French fucking police should have been doing. Is it any wonder we are seeing people who are willing to resort to violence to deal with the issue. I know there will be a lot of people who will sit there and say, oh, well, it's clearly their fault because they're the ones who broke the law. But here's the thing. Do you think the English would honestly resort to this if they felt they had another option? Be honest. Because let's face it, we have had the patience of a whole fucking army of saints, quite frankly. They should be thankful we didn't lose our shit 10 fucking years ago. At the end of the day, what this comes down to is this is an action, or actually the lack of action, meets consequences. The government, the police, the French police, the border force have not done their job. So it stands to reason why we see the Englishmen taking out the trash, metaphorically speaking. The trash these people should have been doing. That's the thing. This isn't a direct result of, oh, these people are primitive cavemen. This is a matter of our government, our forces, they haven't done what they should be doing, which is protecting our fucking nation from illegal invaders who wish to do us harm. Protect us from T's who want to do us harm. Protect us from R's who want to do us harm. Protect us from M's who want to do us harm. But instead, they've chosen to put your dentures back in. To sit on their arses and do fuck all. I might be sitting on a chair right now, but here's the thing, at least I'm going out and earning a fucking wage. At least, if it comes down to it, I'm more than willing to attend protests if it's within my budget and what have you, because I've got to be a lot more careful with that. Like, that's the thing. There are loads of people who are going out of their way to show their support for this country, who are protesting against the oligarchy because of the simple fact that they are refusing to do what the people who voted them in, what they've been asked to do, basically. I mean, okay, devil's advocate, you could argue only the absolute moronic pricks in the lowest majority that this country's ever seen have voted this traitor in, that is Keir the traitor Starmer, but it doesn't change the fact that we, the people, expect this Prime Minister, or more like monumental fuck-up, to actually do right by the people. Goes without saying, he has not done that. It's like I said before, with the potential revolution, the potential civil war that's coming. What it comes down to is, if it takes place, they won't be able to blame us. They won't be able to blame the mythical far right for all of this. They'll only have themselves to blame. Do you honestly think people in the future are going to look back in history and look at us people and think, oh, look at those people. They were brutes. They were barbarians. They were thugs. They were scum. They didn't want to serve their country, so they resorted to violence. No, they're going to look at us as concerned parents, concerned patriots, concerned citizens who wanted the country to be protected, who wanted their children to be protected. And they took matters into their own hands when they gave the government every fucking chance to do so themselves. They will not look at us as scum. They will look at us, if anything, more as heroes than anything else, because we held our patience for so friggin' long. And yet, what has it accomplished? About as much as my 3-week salad diet. Way I see it, if it breaks out, like I said, if civil war breaks out, Starmer will have to resign. His position will be completely untenable. His credibility in that office will evaporate, just like that. He'll be the only Prime Minister in history who has started a civil war. Through his actions in Southport, through his actions through lockdown, through his actions against the people, for his lack of action as far as the invasion is concerned, and his willingness to fund teas in places like Syria. The bottom line is Starmer is on borrowed time, no matter what anybody tries to tell you. That man has been living on borrowed time pretty much for the last year or so. I mean, most people probably didn't want to give Labour a second chance. I personally wouldn't even give them a glass of fresh air. But here we are, where we have the nonce party in power, where we have Keir the traitor Starmer more interested in being the useful idiot to Islam than actually a strong and powerful leader of the United Kingdom. He will face charges. We, the people, will do everything in our power to bring back the traitor law, to make sure traitors like Starmer and David Lammy and Shabana Mahmood and Tony Blair face the electric fucking chair. Just like Axel Radaku Banana should have had the electric chair, and then we can see how good his fucking dancing skills are. Fucking prick. Yeah, I am willing to say that. Because at the end of the day, when you have a scumbag that is willing to go out of their way to end children or violate them, they are not worthy of breathing our oxygen. At that point, if they're found guilty of doing this, there should be an offer on stroke number 3, an officer on scene with a pistol to execute the bastard. Because at the end of the day, we have to protect our nation from the biggest threats to our society. And I would consider a child murdering scumbag, I think that just about entitles him to a free 9mm lobotomy. But what would I know, with my 35 years of life experience since my birthday passed on the 17th of November? What would I know? The fact of the matter is, there is a very, very real possibility that we are heading towards a military coup, civil war, or violent revolution. I would not be surprised if in the next 6 months, the military takes over. I would not be surprised at all. And honestly, I almost feel like it needs to happen, quite frankly. I almost feel like something like this needs to happen, so that then we reach our darkest point, and just like when you hit rock bottom, you can then start making your way back up again. Meanwhile, Keir the traitor Starmer will still be digging for bedrock. At the end of the day, this country is going in a very dark direction. And sometimes there is no alternative but for things to go to hell in a handbasket. Just don't expect Satan to eat any chocolate eggs. Those motherfuckers are going to melt long before they reach his hands. But we have people in power who must be held accountable. Right now, I give my support to those people in France right now who are doing everything in their power to stop these invaders from reaching our shores, or to at least try and get these people to be respectable within our society. I only wish we had more people like them. I do personally think that the peaceful route is going to go down the toilet, in all brutal honesty, but at least they're willing to try. And it basically comes down to this. We've done everything we can. We have done everything in our power to pursue every peaceful means to solve this. Keir the traitor Starmer cannot fault us for that. And if he does, he's a fucking moron, although we already know that. So if that peaceful resolution fails, then it is beyond and to the inclusion of every reasonable doubt that what JFK said before will come true. That when you make peaceful resolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable.